All right, so now we're talking about this circle. Complete circle, not a half circle, complete circle like this. So it's got radius, negative a, right? A, negative a, okay. And we want to use the derivative, right, to find the dimensions of the rectangle that gives us the largest area. So again, we want to find the area equation, set it equal to 0. Take the derivative of the area equation, set it equal to 0. Okay, so let's talk about what the area of the largest rectangle would be. So this would be the rectangle we're talking about. So still, this would be an x value this direction, an x value this direction. So the width would be 2x. All right, so then let's talk about the height. So this direction here is a y, and this direction here is another distance of y, right? We'd go down negative, but we want to talk about distance. So the height would be 2y. So the area equation, remember that's what we need to find, is the area equation. It would be 2x times 2y. So that gives us 4x, and then I'm going to put in for y. How do I find out what y is equal to? All right, well, we just have to take this and solve it for y. So I get y squared is a squared minus x squared. So y would equal plus or minus the square root of a squared minus x squared. So I'll just take the positive. So I get 2 times the square root of a squared minus x squared. Okay, so let's make that a little nicer. So I get 8x a squared minus x squared. All right, so you know this is the function we need to take the derivative of and set it equal to 0, right? So a prime would be first, d second. Okay, remember, a is a number. It's a constant. So I bring the 1/2 down. And again, remember, don't forget, this is so easy to forget. Don't forget that. And then I'm going to carry along the inside. X squared minus x squared. Now I'm going to take the derivative of the inside. So the derivative of a squared is 0. And the derivative of negative x squared would be negative 2x. Plus, so then we move on to second d first, right? So I write this one down and times the derivative of 8x, which is 8. Okay, put the negative exponent guy in the denominator. And so let's see, I got a 1/2 and a negative 2 and then the 8. So it looks like I've got a negative 8x squared over a squared minus x squared. Right, let's go slow. So 2's cancel. There's a negative sign. And there's an 8 still with an x squared. Okay, equals 8 equals plus a squared minus x squared. In the next step, I'll want to set them equal to each other, right? Because I'll move one over to the other side of the equation. All right, let's do it up here. Okay, so if I move this one over to the other side of the equation, I get 8x squared, a squared minus x squared equals 8 a squared minus x squared. Okay, just like we did before, let's multiply both sides by this radical, right? So I get 8x squared on this side. This side I get 8 times a squared minus x squared. So 8x squared, 8a squared minus 8x squared. And so let's move the x squared terms to the same side. So I get 16x squared is 8a squared. And remember, I'm solving for x, and I'm carrying a along as a number. So I would get 1/2 a squared. And then I would take the square root of both sides. So I get plus or minus 1 over root 2 times a. So what was x again? What was x again? Okay, so x was the width, right? And so the width will be 2 times that x value, right? Remember, x and x give me the width. The width was 2 times x. So I take 2 times 1 over root 2 times a. So 2 root over root 2 is a. That's the width. Okay, how do we find the height? The height is going to be 2 times the y value. And so the y value, remember we plugged it into, and we solved for this function. So we did y squared is equal to square root of a squared minus, so y is equal to square root of a squared minus x squared. Whoops, not y squared, y. Okay, so I'm going to put in this x value. So y equals square root of a squared minus, and I'm going to put this in. So 1/2 a squared. So if I was to fix that, I would get 1 over 2 a squared for the y value. There's the width, and there's the height.